Hello dear viewers, you're watching Branding Bangladesh. Branding Bangladesh is a kind of show where we talk about Bangladesh's development. Bangladesh has developed in many parameters. We have seen just recently the Podna Bridge. This is something happened in Bangladesh. Whole world is looking at Bangladesh. This is because the Podna Bridge. So today we have invited the Ambassador of European Union, His Excellency Sir Whiteley. Hello Ambassador, how are you?
Hello, nice to see you.
Yeah, so how do you feel today?
I feel great, thank you, yes.
The program itself, the name is Branding Bangladesh. So it is very significant for Bangladesh. For any country, branding is pretty much important. So how do you see the Branding Bangladesh itself,
I mean, first of all, congratulate you on the idea. I think Branding Bangladesh sounds very catchy, and I think there's a lot of things that can be used to brand Bangladesh. Bangladesh has as you mentioned, the Podna Bridge in your introduction. I think that's a very new and exciting symbol of Bangladesh, which illustrates the growth that's happening in this country, the economic growth, the human development, the changes in human development, the progress that's been made in recent years. I think it's the right time for this, and I think there's definitely more and more interest from European companies in the potential of Bangladesh, and perhaps to bring more investment here, and that's certainly we want to do as European Union. We want to see these investment flows and trade flows increasing further. And Bangladesh, I think, stands out quite remarkably in the world for its return to growth after the COVID epidemic.
True.
And I think I read the other day, there was a calculation that over the last 10 or 20 years, Bangladesh actually had the highest per annum growth of any country in the world. So I think that stands out as a very interesting statistic, which will make your job and the government's job easier in selling Bangladesh to the world. So I think it's a great concept.
Thank you, Charles, because we believe Bangladesh and EU relation is extremely important relation, especially RMG and many other issues. EU-Bangladesh is a very important relationship. So if you could say something at the beginning with EU-Bangladesh relations.
First, I would say they're changing and expanding quite rapidly. I was posted in Dhaka from 2005 to 9, so quite a long time ago, 12, 13 years. And one of the main focuses of our relationship then was development cooperation. And it's still an element there, but I think we're modernizing how we do international cooperation with Bangladesh. Our priorities for the next 7 years with Bangladesh are the green transition, so renewable energy and climate change, which we both, as Bangladesh and EU, have an interest in. It's also human development. And the third priority that we've agreed with the government is good governance. So I think there's a very good mix of opportunities there for us delivering assistance and working in partnership with Bangladesh on shared priorities. But that's only a very small part of the story. I was seeing the other day that the percentage of GNI of Bangladesh which comes from development assistance is now only 1%.
Correct.
So clearly the future is, from our point of view as well, is trade and investment. And we're working very hard to expand our engagement with Bangladesh in that field. We have a business climate dialogue that meets every year that looks at different areas where we can make the flow of trade easier to get rid of red tape, get rid of obstacles. On investment, the EU is the largest source of foreign direct investment in Bangladesh, and I want that to expand even further. And we'll be launching an initiative in the final quarter of this year called EU-Bangladesh Meaning Business, which is designed to look at very specific sectors like ICT or the green transition, where there's a lot of potential to bring together Bangladeshi business, even at the level of startups,
Correct.
with European business and potential investors. So I hope to see that figure growing because it's still relatively small compared to our investment in other countries in the region. So in Southeast Asia, for example, with Vietnam, we invest 3 times as much funding or direct investment as in Bangladesh, and Vietnam has a much smaller population. So I want that disparity to be addressed. But also we're talking to Bangladesh on many international issues and regional issues. We have a shared interest, of course, as I mentioned, in climate change. We also have a shared interest in multilateral solutions to global problems. So that means, looking at the UN, working on issues of common difficulty, like we did during the COVID pandemic. And another priority for me is people-to-people connections. So
absolutely.
In Bangladesh, Bangladesh is the largest participant in the Erasmus Mundus scheme, which is our scholarship scheme to get talented Bangladesh students to study in Europe. And I'm very happy about that, and I want that also to expand. So I'll be doing a roadshow around Bangladesh universities to publicize the scheme.
Well, Ambassador, you know, a country like Bangladesh, we have over 2/3 of the total population of the young people. So, and we have skill development is a huge issue. And if you could give your remarks on this particular issue, skill development issue as well.
First of all, I think having a youthful population like that is a great asset economically, but also socially. You see all this energy now in Bangladesh behind startups, as I mentioned, but behind culture and all these developing areas that take youth to make them alive and make it vibrant. And I think what I've seen in our relationship with Bangladesh is there's been perhaps too much focus from our side on the illegal migration that happens to Europe. We all are very concerned when young Bangladeshis try to go cross the oceans illegally and run the risk of losing their lives or being injured or being trapped somewhere. So what I want to do and what the European Union wants to do is create more opportunities for legal access to Europe. And one of those opportunities is the talent partnership that we're bringing on stream. We'll be discussing later in the year with the government, which is designed to give students or qualified people, be they nurses or engineers or whatever professional area they're from, they will be able to go to Europe for a 4-year period on the understanding that after 4 years they will come back to Bangladesh. So what I hope this scheme will do, if we can finalise the details and negotiate this further, is it will create opportunities for Europe, because we will have the highly talented, skilled Bangladeshis to come in areas where we need young people, because as you know, Europe is aging. We have an aging population. Young people are at a premium in Europe. And so they will come, but then they will also acquire new skills and experience in a different country. But then coming back to Bangladesh, it means there will not be a permanent brain drain. And I think now you see, just anecdotally, because I know many young Bangladeshis who've gone abroad, that they do want to come back to their homeland. You know, some stay abroad, but some see the growing opportunities with the growing Bangladesh economy, the diversification of you know, also service sector and so on. And then they come back because they see they can make a successful life in Bangladesh. So I hope we can get this off the ground. And I think it will be a great scheme if we can.
Ambassador, yes, we believe so, because there is two terms. One is brain gain, one is brain drain. So very rightly you have said that Bangladesh is now developing very rapidly. So I believe the young people will go and have their skill, come back to your own country. They can definitely develop their own land, their own country as well. Thank you so much. Another question is, you know, culture is a huge bond for every country, any country. So cultural exchange is pretty much important for any relationship, I believe. So if you could give your remarks on cultural exchange program in particular.
First, I would say what I see is a huge interest in Bangladesh culture, of course, not only in Bangladesh, but abroad. The other day I went to a screening of a film that had won a prize at the Cannes Film Festival that was Bangladeshi. So you see this emerging diversity of culture from Bangladesh. And I think what I like about Bangladesh is you keep the best of the old, you know, the old traditions like baul singing and so on. And then you have new culture emerging and modern incarnations of your culture. So I think that richness of culture is very important. And cultural exchange, of course, is the only way to, or one of the key ways to foster mutual understanding. Because otherwise, you know, people don't understand each other. And I think it's nice when you see that cultures, what's also interesting isn't just the differences, but the similarities, you know. So we have, of course, in Europe, 27 member states. They're very, very different. Our motto as Europe is united in diversity. And in Europe, we have 23 official languages. The UN only has 6 official languages. So people say to us, why do you need so many official languages? And I would say, because it's culture, you know, and understanding and language is the essence of culture. And what I love about Bangladesh is your love for your language. You know, on the Kushi Day, you know, I saw all the commemoration of the martyrs, but also the reverence that you have for your language. And I think that is the building block of a successful culture. You protect your language, you nurture your language. And I think I would love to see people learning Bangla on a greater scale.
I heard that you pick up a little Bangla as well.
I mean, Bangla shikti chai, but very khub kharab. Yeah, I'm trying.
Beautiful.
I'm trying. Yeah.
Beautiful. I know that you have got a great passion in learning Bangla language. I know Bangla culture. So, Ambassador, let me ask you, like, have you attended any cultural program, Bangladeshi cultural program? I mean, folk
Yes.
or anything?
Yeah, I mean, we've had various performances also in my residence. We had bowel singers, but I've been to book readings and so on where there's been a translation and so on. Translation of Rabindranath Tagore as well, of course. So yes, when I have time, which unfortunately time can be very squeezed, but when the opportunity presents itself, I love to see different kinds of culture as well. In the Chittagong Hill Tracks, I visited there, we saw the traditional dancing and also in the plainlands, the Garo traditional dances. So I think that's the beauty of Bangladesh, the diversity and the traditions. It's kind of a melting pot. So yes, I hope in my next 3 years to see a lot more of that.
Thank you, Ambassador. Yes, Ambassador, I was talking about the women empowerment. Women empowerment is a huge issue, and country like Bangladesh, you know, Bangladesh is a role model for the women empowerment. Our Prime Minister is woman, Speaker is woman, Minister of Education is women, and so many important positions occupied by women. Not only that, also our RMG sector, a great number of young women, they're working in garment sector. So if you could give your remarks on women empowerment in particular.
I mean, first of all, I think women empowerment is a global issue. When I look at Europe, you know, we have challenges in terms of ensuring women's empowerment. I was looking at the statistics the other day, and only 23% of women on corporate boards, the biggest corporate boards in Europe, are women. So clearly there's a lot of work to be done to make a much more level playing field. And we see that in our societies in Europe across different spheres, you know, in diplomacy, in business, and so on, in the civil society sector, the need to ensure that women's voices are heard and that women are speaking for women, of course. So I think here in Bangladesh, clearly women's empowerment is a very important thing. And as you mentioned, the RMG sector is a very good example of how there's employment for women. And I've visited several factories where I've seen women in more managerial positions here in Bangladesh. And I think that's important, you know, that they can work their way up the career path. But having women's voices in every institution is vital, whether it be parliament or government or civil society. And I think we can learn from each other in that regard, because every country has its own experience and way of doing things. I would say that without naming names, we have several EU member states that have never had a woman prime minister or president. And then we have 1 or 2 member states, I can think of one in particular, where the prime minister and every leader of every major political party is a woman, and a quite youthful woman. So in Europe we have different images and different practices and different experiences, and within Europe we try to ensure through the EU that, you know, minimum standards are maintained in terms of anti-discrimination and empowerment and realizing the full potential of half of the population.
Excellent, Ambassador. The flagship Bangladesh, you know, the Podna Bridge, you recently have attended our inauguration program. So the Podna Bridge is a symbol of Bangladesh's development. So if you could give your remarks, I mean, how did you see the Podna Bridge and your experience, you tell about it for the viewers. Yes.
Well, I was very happy to be there on the day of the inauguration. It was quite a day, you know, and there were ceremonies on both sides of the bridge. And it was amazing to be amongst the first to actually cross the bridge and see this amazing piece of infrastructure that will make such a difference to the lives of Bangladesh and to its, you know, to its potential, economic potential, you know, 1.2, 1.3% growth in GDP as a result of the bridge. But it's important in economic terms and in symbolic terms. But I think it's also important in human terms, because I meet many Bangladeshis who say, well, now I can go home in 3 hours instead of going by ferry in 1 or 2 days.
I hail from southern part as well, you know. Yeah, so how happy and excited I am, you understand. You understand.
So you can go home for the weekend.
Absolutely,
easily.
it is.
Yeah. No, I was very happy to be there, and I think, like I say, it will really be something that can project Bangladesh's image as part of branding Bangladesh in the world.
Absolutely.
And I think we are happy to see this transformation in the infrastructure of Bangladesh.
Ambassador, there is a proverb in English called "seeing is believing." So tourism is again a very, very important sector. So if you could tell us something about tourism sector.
Well, for me, there's huge potential in Bangladesh, and I think what goes along with that is the improvements in infrastructure will mean it's easier for tourists to come here. You know, I was just visiting Cox's Bazar and Chittagong. You know, there are improvements going on with the airports. We see how quickly the new terminal in Dhaka airport is being built and made ready. So I think all these things will help attract tourists to Bangladesh because, you know, and again going back to the branding, there are so many iconic things that you associate with Bangladesh,
Sure.
not least the Bengal tiger, the Sundarbans,
Yeah.
you know, as one of the largest, probably the largest mangrove system in the world, the wildlife, but also the warmth of the people, the everyday experiences you can have. I mean, one of my favorite things to do with visitors is to go to Shodagat in Old Dhaka.
Shodarghat.
And you see you know, nothing like that exists in Europe. The hustle and bustle of ferries and people going about their business. And then you ask, you know, a boatman to take you out in his boat on the river. And, you know, you're in a little boat, but surrounded by huge ferries. And it's exciting, you know, and visitors really like that. So there's so much things that you can show people in Bangladesh, but people need to be aware of that. And I think that time will come. And I hope to see European tourists increasing in great number in the coming years. Although selfishly, it's nice to also have quiet spots, you know, to go to in Bangladesh where there aren't so many tourists.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador. We have covered so many things. We have come at the end of the program. So my last question will be your remarks to the people of Bangladesh, if you have any special notes for the people of Bangladesh as well.
Well, all I would say is the EU is your friend and partner. We will always be your friend and partner, and I look forward to working closely with both the government and people of Bangladesh in the next 3 years.
Excellent. With this happy note, Ambassador, we'd like to end the program for today. We'll definitely invite you for another show again very soon.
Thank you.
So viewers, you're watching Branding Bangladesh. We have talked many other issues, our tourism, our development happening over a few years, our Podna Bridge. We talked about, of course, the women empowerment issues, your development issues, so many things you talked about, and we have very wonderfully ended the session. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I'm sure I'll see you at the next reception, whatever that may be. I don't know who's coming next, but yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, we have done a wonderful show. We have asked many important, vital questions to the Ambassador of European Union because we know we value so much the EU-Bangladesh relations. So today the Ambassador has very rightly given his wonderful interview today for the viewers. Dear viewers, thank you for watching this show. We welcome you to another show very soon. Thank you so much.